Now, we have told you a number of times that the modern economy of Uganda will have 4 sectors. Sector 1, commercial agriculture, with the Chivaro, Chura, Aymar, Otita, and with irrigation. We have told you this so many times. If you want to be modern, you will have to have commercial agriculture with the Chivaro and with irrigation. This is number 1. And where we have done it, we are doing well. In the few places where it has been done, either partially or wholly. The second sector is manufacturing. Factories. As you are coming here, you saw the factories on the way in Kawempe, in Waise, and all those areas. The third sector is services, hotels, transport, and so on, entertainment, all those are services. Then number 4, ICT. Information communication technology. This is a new economy of computers. Now, in order to modernize these sectors, because everything causes something else. If you want to do this, you must have this. So if you want a modern economy, you must handle the 4 sectors as I have told you. But in order to modernize these sectors, you need many things, like peace and so on. You need peace, you need all that. But having got peace, the most important point is to have low transport costs. You must have low transport costs, because if you have got high transport costs, the businesses will not succeed. And in order to have low transport costs, you need a railway. This is one of the cheapest forms of transport, the railway. That's why you hear that we are repairing the railway from Kampala to Tororo, from Tororo to Gulu and Pakwach. That old line, we are repairing it now. And we are going to build a new railway, standard gauge railway, modern railway, different from this old one, from Kampala to Malaba, and from Kampala to the border with Congo, Kasese, and then from Tororo later to Guru, to Nimle, and we shall work with Sudan, to South Sudan, to take it to Juba, so that we have got low transport costs. Another way of low transport costs is the water, this water which you have here. You see, like Albert, you can take goods from Nimle all the way to Fort Portal through Lake Albert. God has put there a cheap highway for you. Then across Lake Victoria, to Mwanza, to Kisumu, and so on. We are now using road transport because we had to do something quickly. And we need road transport for human beings. But road transport is not the best for cargo. Cargo is better transport, it's cheaper if you take cargo by railway and by water. And you see how much trouble we are getting with the road transport. Expensive, traffic jam, what have you, damaging the roads. You have seen that. But we had to do that because we were coming from a very low base. Abanyankole n'abanyoro bagamba ngo arikuruga kuzumuta koraki? Arikuruga kuzumuta koraki? Our people here say that if you are coming from underground, you don't say this sun is not enough. Any sun is better than when you are underground. So we are coming from a very low base. So anything, transport, the tarmac road, fine. But the tarmac roads are not the best for cargo. Even to go from Mombasa, this is a wastage, very costly, damaging the roads. So you will see we are going to build pipelines to take the petrol through the pipelines. Petrol doesn't have to go on the roads. Petrol tankers, all this, no, it should be in the pipelines. Those petrol tankers should be off the road. Then cargo should be on the railway, so that you remain only with passenger vehicles on the road, which are not very heavy, you will save the roads, you have cheaper products. So you the leaders, when you are talking to our people, clarify so that they don't confuse. Because when you talk too many things, people get confused. They don't know what is important and what is not important. So this is number one. Law, if you want a modern economy, because the goods you produce must be good quality and cheap. Otherwise, people will not buy your products, they will buy the products of others. In the past, we were buying goods from Europe. But if you look for goods from Europe now, they are not there. Many of the manufactured goods are now coming from China, from India, from other places. How were the Europeans chased out of manufacturing? High costs. High costs. Their vehicles are very expensive. Their things are very, forget about the Europeans. So, of course, for the Europeans, the biggest problem, one of their biggest problems was that they were paying themselves very high salaries. Because very high salaries are also another problem. If you pay yourself too high salaries, what you produce would not be affordable. That was part of the problem of the Europeans, because they don't listen. They think they know everything. Therefore, number one, ensure low transport costs. Number two, ensure low costs of electricity. Have cheap, reliable, affordable electricity. Number three, the cost of money in the banks, especially for agriculture and for manufacturing. The money from the banks must not be high interest rates. Because if it is high interest rates, how will you make profit? That's why for the government insisted on UDB, borrow from UDB, borrow from Myoga, from PDM, have nothing to do with the money lenders. Those money lenders are your enemies. And I'm going to do something about them. I'm going to crush the money lenders. They are criminals, but they're encouraged by you people. How do you allow somebody to say he has given you money, but you make an agreement that he has bought? In the document you say he bought when he just gave you 2 million shillings for paying school fees. Why should you do that? But anyway, we're going to arrest you now. We're going to arrest you. We're going to deal with the money lenders. So, money for manufacturing, for agriculture must be cheap money. The low cost of money. For nightclubs and so on, you can, you can go to the commercial bank and borrow expensive money for nightclubs, and I'm not bothered with that so much. And importing wigs and perfumes, and you go to the commercial banks. But for manufacturing, for agriculture, UDB. Please, you people, UDB. If the money is not enough, let's keep adding on, keep adding on. Don't go to the other places. We had to save our girl, the one who invested in Atiak Sugar. Very good project. But she had made a mistake of going to commercial banks. And that project was about to collapse. But we had to come in and save her. So this is the third issue. If you want a modern economy producing products which are competitive, this is the word they use. Crucial point number 3 is low cost of money. Then point number 4 is the human being, our young people. They must be, because you see, all these factories, like these dams which were built here, they need educated, skilled, healthy people to run them. So here, point number 4 is the developed human resource. Developed how? Educated, skilled, not just speaking English and Arabic and foreign languages and Latin. And you think that is education? You must have a skill. You must be educated, skilled, and healthy. This is the fourth point. The fifth one is the integration of the African market. Because when you produce goods, where do you sell them? There's what we call kilowatt hour per capita. Kilowatt hour per capita. the amount of electricity per person, per citizen, per person in that population. You can go and see the per capita, the kilowatt hour per capita of the USA, or countries like Sweden, and so on. You see, what is the per capita? Kilowatt hour per capita. Now, in the case of Europe and the USA, you can remove the electricity for warming and cooling for the Middle East where it's very hot. Remove that. So if you remove, because for us here we don't have to have air conditioning, we don't need them so much, except in a few areas. Now, when you remove that, if you remove internal heating, you remove internal heating mainly. This is the main one. Internal heating or cooling. What is the kilowatt hour per capita of a modern country or a modern person?
We compare.
Like a country like Sweden is, what is the per?
So Sweden is at about 15,000 kilowatt hours.
Now you hear where you are now. Of course, we are now better than other countries. We are the lowest now in Africa.
Of course, we have countries like Chad, Benin that are way below 100 kilowatt hours per capita.
They are below 100?
Yes.
So please, just thank you so much. Sit down, sit down. For me, I can't dance and be happy. Nyoncha churere. Ningamba ntikare aho munyankano hagambira ntakiri. Abanyoro bakibaza icyo. Ntuwakiri afadhali. Afadhali, it's better than nothing, but we have got a long way to go. So we have moved now, but we are going to continue moving. We are not going to relax. Because this little electricity we have here now is going to support the factories. It will be very soon, because now the surplus is like 500 megawatts. But very soon it will be overtaken. So that's why, where is Ayago Nankavirwa? We're supposed to, we give it to some people, what are they doing?
Ayago was given to Bridging Foundation. Bridging Foundation proposed to come with a package of $5 billion. These are the Jews who said money will come in and they will not take it back. Together with other.
Where are they now?
We gave them 365 days, which passed. We amended the MOU. The second year is also almost.
Okay. So the next is Ayago. We're going to do something on Ayago. Ayago. And Ayago will give us 840 megawatts. And then we have the geothermal, then we have the solar. We are going moving. But be clear about the target. The target we need, for instance, if countries like Sweden, they live well with the kilowatt hour per capita of 15,000. We here, that's what those people should calculate for us, the people of energy, the engineers. We here, who don't have to have internal heating and air conditioning, maybe we could do, is 10,000 per kilowatt hour good? Is it 12,000? So that they guide us, that our target, where we live on the globe, the kilowatt hour per capita we need is so much. So that our population is now 46 million. Now you can calculate what you need. And very soon our population will be 100 million. In the next 30 years, it will be 100 million. aho nyoni inja kuba mbasigwire ngenzero warahangaho. So I don't want my great grandchildren okujuma omugurusi tumuguruse tene kyakozire taratuhabwire So that's why for me ibyanyo mbibarizaho kandi byona bihandikire. So I'm telling them that in 30 years time their population, when by that time I'm sure I will be in heaven. Because 20 years I will be 100. 30 years I will be 110, but you never know, I may still be around. When my uncle died recently, just last month, but he was 106. He was 106. So 110, you never know. So let's be clear that the target is to have enough electricity for a modern person in our circumstances, which are slightly different from others. Now, here, I want to salute, there's one man, an Italian. I don't know what happened to him. The people who were with me in energy, is Kawagambe Karisa here? Arohanu. He was Kabagambe Karisa, olio musejja muitali akabaryoha igenda hamuzindaro. Olio musigazo omuitali.
Your Excellency, omusejja wakanakolana Salini, he was working with Salini. He was called Antonio. Antonio.
Yes.
He was working with Salini. He was a construction engineer.
He was called Antonio.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Now, I want to thank that person, although he's not here, and I don't know where he is, because the Norwegians wanted to do this dam here. But they wanted to use the surface water, the surface run, to use the water in the river, and they would get us 200 megawatts. They had a company called NOPAC, and we were moving with them. Then this Italian man came. He was a young man, not so old. He came and said, "Why? Why do you do this? Have you forgotten geography?" Because I used to do geography. Don't you know there is a height difference between here and the lower part of the River Nile? Why don't you use that difference in height? Instead of just using the water on the surface, why don't you, through a tunnel, make the water drop more and give you more energy? So that's how I abandoned the Norwegians. I told the Norwegians, no, I've got somebody who has got a better idea. You make a plan. He made a plan, but I don't know what happened. What was the problem? Kabagambe Karisa. Akata innocent. Huh?
Your Excellency, the major problem was that he wanted to do it as an independent power plant. And that is private capital. And we had already seen that that was expensive.
Independent?
Power producer. It was
Like Bujagari?
like Uganda.
Oh, that's why we said we want to do it for the government.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because then they make it expensive. Because they are trying to make Amagoba. But he had planted the idea in my head. So I want to really thank him, and if you know where he is, you call him, I give him a lunch. So once I got the idea of moving from the 200 megawatts to 660 megawatts, then I started planning to do it with government money. We have created an energy fund. We have created our own energy fund. But then I'm very grateful that our Chinese friends came in. They said, not only can we do it technically, but we can co-fund it majorly. So that's how you find that our Chinese friends brought more or less 85% of the funding from Exim Bank of China, and we put in our 15% from the energy fund, and that's how we have built this wonderful facility. So I'm very grateful to that man who called that one here, the Italian, but I'm also very happy with China, and also the company Sinohydro, because they are a serious company. Now, the floating islands, we're going to take it up with agriculture. We shall make sure they have a permanent program upstream so that the papyrus does not float down. They harvest it before it gets here. Vandalism, okteme bioma. We handled it the other time. We arrested many of them, but I'm going to tell the cabinet on Monday to have a real program of dealing with that problem permanently. With these so many words, I commissioned the Karuma Hydropower station.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Apoyo Lubanga.
Apoyo Matek.